Alright, so we have a portion of the user interface running successfully, which is what we want, right? So if I go to run, here it is. We still get our application output because obviously I still have all of that in my main function. But most importantly, as stated, we have the first row running successfully in the user interface. Now, building the interface isn't too difficult. It's obviously, how can I say, monotonous, but it's not too difficult. The harder part's going to come when we are introducing the functionality so that once we enter values into these line edits, we have means to process the values. So when I hit OK, something should happen. And that's what we'll start doing later today. Let me close that. And I'll come back to my registration dialog. And I'll start working on the second row. So create the second row. My second row is just my QCombo box, which is called type of registration. So type of, which is equal to new QCombo box, which takes in a parent, which, well, I'll show you take. Okay, so it's going to be this. Now I wonder, how can I populate you with values? QCombo box. It's a compact way to present a list of options to the user. Okay. I can populate it with strings if the insert item functions are suitably overloaded. It uses the model view framework for its pop-up list and stores it, and to store its items. Let me see. QCombo box, no insert, inserted top, inserted current. So it should just be public functions, add item. Adds an item to the combo box with a given text and containing the specified user data stored in the user role. The item is appended to the list of existing items. I don't need that. I just want to add. So if I do this, and if I do type of registration dot add items, let me create a Q string list. Q, spelled that wrong. Q string list, list. My feet are cold, and I hate my feet being cold. Okay, list, and I can write into you, right? So that's standard registration, and then it should be that. Okay, if I pass in list, if I could spell correctly, list. Okay, that seems to have worked. And then I'll create another Q horizontal box layout, and I'll call you second row. New Q horizontal box layout. And I can just end that line, and I can just do second row dot add widget, and this has to be my type of registration. Now, as you can see up here, I have my window title and my layout set. You can only set one layout at a time. So now that I have my first row, how am I going to add both my layouts? Well, thankfully, we have another type of layout called, and I'm going to call this main layout. Another type of layout called the vertical box layout, which is what I'm going to use. So I'll create QV box layout. Q vertical box layout, and I'll call this main layout and I'll just start adding. Now I don't add widget, I add a layout. And I'll pass in my first row, and I'll also pass in my second row. And now my main layout, my set layout, I mean, will not be first row. Instead, it will be main layout. If I control save, I control B, it's taking more than a second, which is good news. Control R to run. There we go. Here's my standard registration. It's quite large. I want that first value to... No, standard registration is fine. That's completely okay. That is okay. So standard, student, and then guest. I am, however, going to add just space. I'll bold again. I have an issue somewhere. Cancel bold deployment. Why did you get cancelled though? Bold. Okay, and run. Standard reg, student registration, and then guest registration. Cool. I will have to now create my... come up here. Create the third row. The third row is my model and my table view. Okay. By default, this is a list. If I add rows and columns, I can then change it from a list to become a table, which is actually what I want. So by default, I'm just going to do... I'll just pass in this. Right, so I'll just use standard item model and I'll just set my parent this. That's all I want to do. I'll then create QString list. How are you spelled? Allied list. And I'll call you column labels. And for column labels, I'll write out a few values. What values do I want? Where's my phone? I took a picture of my whiteboard yesterday where I sketched what I had as an idea. And it should be name, type, booking date, fee. Name, type, booking date, fee. Okay. That's what I want. And then I can do model.set horizontal header labels. I can pass in my column labels. And that will set labels for the first 4 columns. I'll then do table view. And I'll also set your parent to be this. And I will do table view dot set model. This will associate my table view with the model, which in my case is just called model. Okay. I'm also going to do table view dot show grid. And what else do I want? I want to be able to sort my table, so I should do table view Why does typing feel so awkward today? Oh, I understand why. I'm wearing 3 layers. Oh, my elbows are taking a beating. Table view dot set sorting. Enable. This will also be true. This will allow me to sort the values in set. Sort the values in my table using the columns. Set show grid. Why is this wrong? It's called set show grid. No member, no. Something wrong here. Oh, yeah, okay. Set show grid. And what else do I need? I'll leave this as it is. I'll do oh, I need to create my third row, so that's going to be Q horizontal box layout third row, which is equal to new Q horizontal box layout. Okay, and then third row dot add widget, and here I don't need to add the model. I can just add the table view, okay? Because the model essentially is like an array or vector or a vector of vectors. Well, more appropriately, a vector of vectors because it's a table, right? So there's no need for me to go and add it to my display because what's going to be displayed is the table view. Now that I have that widget there, I should be able to come into my main layout and add a layout here, and I can say third row. I can end that line. I can do a Control B to build, Control R to run, and you can't see it, but here it is. Look at that. We have our name, we have our 3 input labels: a name, email, a affiliation, an OK button to confirm it, and the type of registration. And then we have data here like name, type, booking date, and fee. I want to, let me think, do I need anything else? Think. A person will have a name, they'll have what kind of registration they made, they will have the date they booked, they will have the amount they paid. Do they need anything else? Let me go ahead and check. Under person, I have name, affiliation, email, don't need any of that. I have booking date, get attendee, don't need it. Calculate fee, don't need it. ToString, don't need it. Guest. These are people, so guest has a category, student has a qualification, and a base guest has nothing. I can add in my registration dialog, I can come up here and I can add one more, and I can say what's a good column name that reflects the fact that I have three types of registrations: a standard, a guest, and a student. No, but if you are attending a conference, you wouldn't want people to know like who you are, right? You wouldn't want your email to be everywhere. You wouldn't want them to know who you're affiliated with and stuff. So I don't see it's a good point to add any of that. So what I'll do actually is I'll keep all of this for now. I'll come here and I'll do table view do dot, and I can increase the value of my tables. Set column width and 0, 1, 2, 3 dash table view dot column width at my third table. Let's do plus 100, okay? I'll save this. I'll close this instance of my window. I'll build my project. I will run it. And that consumes a lot more of the window. But once I start expanding, you see it doesn't expand. So what I should do instead, I'll leave that there in case I add more values. So I'll just leave it there for now. And I'll also do, what is it? Is it add stretch? I think it is horizontal header dot set stretch last section and then true. Member reference type QHeaderView is a pointer. Member access into incomplete type QHeaderView. So that should sort it out, and it did. Okay. And I'll do a build. I'll do a run. And now you see I have name, type, booking date, fee, and if I increase it so that fee column will also increase. Cool. And the last row that I want for now, so I'll come up here. If only it were this easy to create layouts in Python in Tincta. It's not. And QtCreator in Python is just weird. PyQt they call it. George Galloway beaten by Labour in Rochdale. Well, Big George, you have my condolences. Okay. Let me see how much time. 6 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. My fourth row was just one thing. It was another Q combo box. Okay. And for now, what I want to do is I'll get rid of all of this. And I will also include registration list. And I'm going to I'll have to create one instance of you. So I should actually remove you from here, go into my registration dialog, include you here, come down here, and I'm just going to do registration list. And back into my dialog, and within my constructor, I'm going to do how do I create a registration list again? Okay, I can create an empty registration list. That's good. So registration list. Just list. Okay, and this should create an empty registration list. And because registration list, do I have you inheriting? Cool, you do inherit. That's good. If I come back here and I create another Q string list called actions for int I equal to 0, I is less than list dot meta object list dot I can't access you. Let's see. Meta object. Yeah, I should be able to. Oh, okay, my assumption is because it's just not picking up. So QString list, right, is on a pointer. I know that QString list. It's because above I have I have another list. Damn it! I'm gonna have to change the name. So registration dialog reg list, and I'll copy this. Control here. I'll come up here and I'll change this registration list. And if I come down here, dot property count I plus plus should append, and I need to open my GitHub because I don't remember how I have to grab these values, and I need to go to my repositories. It should be under my Qt development repository, which it is. Okay, that's good. It should be here, question 2, I believe. It should be under my software review CPP. Nope, then it has to be software review dialog. Yeah, okay. So I can do the following. I can create a review. I can then check the review name. That's what I want. I can instead create a meta object, right? I can check the property count, correct. I can then do for int j equals 1, j is less than the count, plus plus j. I plus plus should be the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but you know what I mean. And then I can do property, meta object property. So I'll have to do reg list dot meta object dot property at the given index I. Calling property with incomplete return type. Property I. Oh, dot name, right? Dot name. Calling property with incomplete return type. And the 6 minutes are up. Okay, let me just look. So I can grab the property count, that's correct. I then have to grab the Q meta property, and then I chain it to get the name. But that doesn't make sense because I should be able to get rid of this entirely. I should be able to call registration list dot meta object. I should be able to then do dot property at I, right, dot name. I should be able to do that. But I'm getting an error that states calling property with incomplete return type Q meta property. So Q meta property meta property. You have incomplete type. Dude, now you just... Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now, calling properties of meta object, property at J, or in this case I, incomplete type, okay, which means I don't include you, so include and it gets sorted out. Cool. Now if I do actions and I write out meta property dot name. That should work, right? And then I can do more actions. Where's that combo box I created earlier? Dot add items, okay. Dot add items, and I can pass in actions. And then I can do Q horizontal box layout, 4th row, which is just a new Q horizontal box layout. And in that 4th row, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add widget, and the widget that I want to add is my what are you called? More actions. And then I'll come to my main layout and I'll add that new layout. I need coffee. 4th layout. 4th row, I should say. This is the part that may give me problems from the way I'm counting, but let's see. More than a second. Good news. And if I run you, application did work, but I didn't get a layout, which is not good. Which means there's an issue somewhere. Okay, you can go. Let's just comment this out. Bold again. Run. Crashed. You crashed. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. So I have concluded that yes, that is the problem up here. So meta objects. Let's see. I create a combo box. Combo box isn't the issue. I create a new Q string list, not an issue. The issue is the for loop. And this should start at 0. That should be fine. I'm then writing that property to actions, and I'm doing it property count number of times plus I, and then I'm grabbing the property at I and I'm calling your name, and I'm adding items, all the actions, and then 4th row, new Q horizontal box layout as it should be up here, and then I'm adding the widget, and then I'm adding the layout. Okay, Control B, Control R. And still, for some weird reason, you are not showing up. That's weird. Let me comment that out, and I'm going to do actions, and all I'm going to write is placeholder. Control B, Control R. And that does work. Okay, so the for loop is the one that's definitely giving me problems. So why don't I instead leave that placeholder there? I'll uncomment this out. And I will not, I'll just do a QDebug. How about that? QDebug. Okay, which means I need to include QDebug. Okay. And the window doesn't run at all whenever I involve the meta object for my registration list. So the issue is definitely this Q meta property, meta object property, right? Let's see. Let me copy this code. I'll go into my registration list function. And the destructor, so just before it dies, I'm going to do this instance. I'm just going to do this. And I obviously have to include QMeta property here. Control B to build. Call to virtual method during destruction bypasses. I don't really care, dude. Application output. And okay, you don't work here. I have to care apparently. I'll get rid of this and let me just call. What's the last function I call in main? I call total fee. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my registration list and total fee. I will do that. Control B to build. Oh, I think it should be method name, not property count. Object name, object name, object name, all empty. Good, should be empty. You should be property, you should actually be method. Right, method. And instead of having that, I can get rid. Why don't I get rid of Q meta property? I don't need that. Control X, I'll I that out. Method at I, and I can do a dot name. Control B. Control R. And then destroy, destroy, destroyed is the only method I am getting. Which, fair enough. At least we gain some output now. Property refers to the members. I grab the meta object. Class name, superclass name. I have method names. Oh, property count. No, 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 no. Method count. Control B to build. Control R to run. Application output. And destroyed, destroyed. Object name change, delete later. Object name change, delete later. Okay, these are somewhat method names, but they're not the method names that I want. I want total fee, total registration is registered. Okay. I'm going to do the best thing. I'm going to save all of this. And I'm going to go to my terminal. Get status. Just checking something. If I do a git add, and if I do a git reset, if I do a git status, cool, so everything else is added and I can add that bullet, I can also remove it. I think that's much faster. Git commit -m, the final row in the UI is producing an error. Git push. Right. Then I'll close that, and this is where we end it. And I will see you later on today.